Hello and welcome to my review of the Karacnos assault tank for Mechanicum for Warhammer, the Horus Heresy from Games Workshop. One of these tanks will cost you £65 and consists of 159 plastic components, which coincidentally is £8 more expensive than her sister kit, the Triaros Armoured Conveyor, which consists of 119 plastic components. Now, I'd like to start off the review by saying a huge thank you to everybody for having the patience of waiting for this review. I know it's been quite a while since I picked up this box set. I've been trying to keep up with all of the other releases, like all of the Soul Blight. So this kit and box set kind of went on a bit of a back burner for a while. So thank you for your patience. I do review everything that you see in all the unboxings eventually. Now, the format of this review is as normal. So I'll look at the Karacnos up close. I'll go through all of its details, some hotspots, things to look out for. Then I'll go through its spare parts. And then going through its spare parts will be easy because there are none. And then I'll do some size comparisons with other Mechanicum and Space Marine vehicles and units. And then at the end, I'll go through. Now, first things first, I believe you unfortunately can't pick up that Mechanicum Heavy Support Force box set. It's not on Games Workshop's web store anymore, which is a bit of a shame. I wish it stayed on there a bit longer, but you might be able to pick it up from third-party sellers, which will definitely give you a decent saving. I think you would get the Krios tank for free if you picked one of those sets. But £65, you know, £8 more than the Triaros. Now, bearing in mind that the Triaros does have basically 5 weapons, if you count the hunter killers and things. This vehicle has, again, I'd say the same 5 weapons. We'll go through those weapons and what they do and things later on. But first of all, let's have a look at the miniature, this tank. Now, currently these are the biggest plastic kits for Mechanicum. You know, if you're not including the knights and things. I think it's a very, very nice looking tank. There's a lot going on. The lightning locks look brilliant on the side. I'm kind of getting support vehicle vibes with it. They look almost like arms, but it makes sense to have them attached like this, as opposed to the awful sort of sponson system that the Krios has. But yeah, I like it. There's enough going on to definitely take some design cues from the Triaros, but yet have it stand out as its own tank. The main differences from a Triaros would be these lightning locks, the antenna array here, and then the mortar battery, which is full of radiological warheads. And a fun little feature is you can actually close both of these or keep them open. You don't have to glue them, you can just keep them like that. They're firmly in place. That's fantastic. So yeah, you could proxy this as a Triaros. I mean, if you're fighting against me and you only had one Triaros and one Karacnos, yeah, why not? I'd close the mortar battery and go with it. Furthermore, if you wanted to really push that further, you could just magnetize these lightning locks. There's enough space in there to magnetize them on and off if you wished. But they do come part of the unit. So yeah, good looking tank, enough to set it apart from the Triaros, and it's really fun to build. Like the Triaros, I had a great time. Yes, you're going to have some issues here, either side, getting those nice and smooth, and the tracks do deserve a little bit of extra attention when filing down the mold lines. But apart from that, yeah, you will have a good time building this. It is a project. It will take you, you know, 2 or 3 sittings to complete, but the end result is definitely worth it. So this is the part where I'd normally give you a rundown of all the spare parts. There aren't any, believe it or not. I used every single part in the kit. I didn't have any pieces left. You will have pieces if you don't use the hunter killers, but it just goes to show that they didn't bundle in the Triaros sprue that included the Mauler bolt cannons and the Volkite, as well as the front kind of lens thing that the Triaros has. I'll show you that a bit later on. And also an important point to make is that the side doors, the hatches, are different as well. So nice bit of detail there, Games Workshop. So on to the size comparisons. Okay, I've been talking about this tank all review, and that is the Triaros Armoured Conveyor. Considerably lighter, like you can definitely tell that this is a chunky boy compared to the Triaros. But yeah, there you go. They're going to be running kind of the same size. The Triaros looks a bit bigger, a bit longer, just because of this front lens, I want to say, to get it where it needs to go. But everything else, all of the dimensions are the same. Like this canopy is the same height, hunter killers, the flare shields, the tracks, the height of this is the same, the width and the length. You know, it just seems like the Triaros is a bit longer because of that, which is just perspective, I guess. So that's where it stands next to a transport, the Triaros. So next to another tank from Mechanicum, we've got the Venator, which is like a Cryos size tank. Yeah, these are small / medium tanks for Mechanicum. I'm not a big fan of this tank, just for build purposes and its options and the work that's required to get it looking like it does. I would much rather build many more Triaros and Karacnos tanks than these Krios tanks, but there we go. It's nice to have one in plastic finally. But that's where it stands next to one of those. It's a fair bit bigger, taller, wider, yeah, wider, and longer. Next to the other kit that you'll find in the box, which is the Thanatar with the Solex pattern heavy las. That's where it stands, or that's where the Thanatar stands next to the Karacnos. The Thanatar is taller, but of course is, you know, a bit smaller, kind of model wise, compared to the Karacnos. Now, other minis then, next to the Karacnos, we've got the Castellax, which is one of my favourite minis of Mechanicum. So yeah, similar sort of comparison with the Triaros, and then we also have a Tecthrall, so that's where they measure up. These Karacnos and Triaros tanks are going to be your biggest set of plastic models for Mechanicum, other than Knights. Speaking of which, here is one of the Knights, a Moirax, one of the smallest pattern of Knights, and yeah, as you can see, you can definitely see the similarities in the weapons look. Both got the lightning locks. These ones are much bigger. These are much smaller and more efficient use probably of them. I don't know, but there you go. That's the size next to a Moirax. Space Marines wise, I have two Space Marine vehicles that I wanted to show you next to this. One is the Sakaran and the other one is the Spartan. So here's a slightly better angle of these, just to show you that the Karacnos is longer than the Spartan, which is one of Space Marine's largest Land Raiders. The Spartan is wider, and I would say overall there are more parts of the Karacnos that are taller than the Spartan. Yes, you've got the whole tracks that run kind of level that are taller than these tracks. These kind of slope down and reach a point there, but there are the mortars and the weapons arrays and those kind of things that just make it a taller tank with that overall profile. So yeah, is it kind of like Mechanicum's big Land Raider equivalent? Possibly. We've also got a Sakaran there, which just gives you an idea of you know, just the width of a Sakaran really. They're very similar width-wise, and height-wise again the Karacnos beats it. Okay, back down low for some comparisons with some Space Marines then. I have the old Mark III, the old Mark IV, new Mark III, new Mark VI. So if you're fighting against Space Marines, this thing is going to dwarf them pretty much, unless you're against some of the dreadnoughts like the Leviathans and things. And then compared to some 40k minis, we also have Primaris, normal Space Marine, and Sly Marbo. So that's where it stands up next to those. So Primaris is what, halfway towards the hatch. So yeah, it's a big tank. Okay, this is my part of the review where I will go through all of the rules. So at the time of this recording, the Horus Heresy 2.0 rules have not been released yet. So I will be taking them from the Liber Mechanicum, Forces of the Omnissiah Army book, which was published in, I think, 2022. And you'll find its rules in the heavy support section. And one of these Karacnos assault tanks will cost you 225 points. Its movement speed is 12 inches, ballistic skill 4, front armour is 14, side armour is 12, and rear armour is 12. So that is exactly the same stat line as a Triaros. It doesn't have any transport capacity, unfortunately. I'm guessing that all of the transport capacity is taken up by the ammunition, the power cells for the lightning locks, and all of those mortars that keep being replenished. So the unit composition is 1 Karacnos, and it's a vehicle. War gear is a shock ram, hull-mounted Karacnos mortar battery, 2 sponson-mounted lightning locks, flare shields, searchlights, special rules, galvanic traction drive, and hazardous munitions. And then it does have some options. It may take one of the following options, up to 2 hull-mounted hunter-killer missiles at 5 points each. So my one there is actually costing 235 points. Now, what do all these weapons do? You may be wondering. This is a unique unit with a unique weapon for this unit. Now, the Karacnos mortar battery is counted as a missile weapon. It has a range of 60 inches, which is incredible. One of the longest range weapons, actually. Strength 6, AP is 4, unfortunately. You know, it would be devastating if it was AP3. It's a heavy 1, but it is a massive blast, so a good 7 inches. 7 inches is massive. You should all keep telling yourselves that. It has Barrage, Fleshbane, Radphage, Ignores Cover, Pinning, and Shell Shock 3, and Crawling Fire. Wow, that's a lot of extra special rules and things. Fleshbane, they always wound on a 2+. And Radphage, if a model loses 1 or more wounds to an attack and survives, then the toughness is reduced by -1. Crawling Fire means that after the blast marker for a weapon with a special rule is placed, the attacking unit's controlling player may move the marker up to 2 inches in any direction, so long as this would cover more models than it previously would have. So yeah, you're really maximising that. You could hit and wound, most probably, a number of Space Marines, especially if they're in big blobs. This against Solar Auxilia or anything with like a 4+ save is going to absolutely annihilate them. The other weapons are the lightning locks, which are pretty decent on their own. They are 36-inch range, strength 7, that's very good. AP is 3, and they're heavy 1, blast 3-inch, rending 4+, shred, and exoshock 4+. So again, against other Mechanicum units, that's going to be good. Against Space Marines, that's good. It's only a small, and yeah, 3 inches is small, blast marker, but that can wipe out instantly little blobs of Space Marines, like 3, maybe 4 Space Marines at a time with that AP3. So don't rule out those lightning locks. The hunter-killer missiles, of course, work as normal. They're 48-inch range, strength 8, AP3, heavy 1, 1 shot. So again, you know, this vehicle doesn't really have anything that can go up against other vehicles, really. You know, the biggest strength weapon it's got is those lightning locks, which are only 36-inch range at strength 7. So yeah, this thing is going to need backup from Venators or Thanatars, or, you know, that's the one thing I feel with Mechanicum, is they're quite weak against armour a lot of the time. And this one specifically, this is your, you know, big anti-infantry vehicle against Space Marines, who are usually transport tank heavy. I'm not sure. Might be worth it if you're up against you know, a force that has a lot of troops, but a lot of Space Marine forces have decent Praetors. They have the Land Raider Spartans. They have their Contemptor Dreadnoughts, maybe a Leviathan Dreadnought. Its specific use is quite limited a lot of the time. So yeah, it's going to be vulnerable. So it's going to be weak attacking other vehicles. Speaking of which, how would you wipe this thing out? Well, I still think it would be good to try and take it out in close combat. If you've got some melter charges, or if you've got a dreadnought that can rip the sides off it, you know, side armor is 12 at the end of the day. Firing at it probably won't do much damage because of the armor 14 up front and those flare shields. You could try and take it out from the sides in ranged, but definitely this thing is going to be vulnerable to high strength weaponry from the sides and melee from the sides. I'd be a bit cautious about melee because it does have that shock ram, which is a strength 10 AP4 concussive 3 ram D6 weapon. So, you know, it has got strength 10 weapon on it, so it can ram other vehicles and things. In summary, I really like this model. It's always been one of those Forge World models that I've had my eye on, and if I was going to start a Mechanicum army or pick up some units, I would have picked it up, even in resin. I think this unit and the Triaros are lovely. I think they work brilliantly with Mechanicum. I prefer them both to the Venator, you know, the Krios tanks. I think they've done a better job. The Krios, not so much. You probably gained that from my review of that tank a little while ago. The only thing that lets it down is really its usefulness on the battlefield. Lightning locks are good at just popping little units of Space Marines. The mortar battery is your big 7-inch blast weapon that can potentially wipe out big chunks of Space Marines, but it's going to be weak against more of the elite units, and it hasn't really got any anti-armor weaponry on it, other than maybe the hunter killers and possibly the shock ram in close combat. This is a must-buy kit, in my opinion, for Mechanicum, along with the Triaros. If you have a Mechanicum army, strongly suggest you pick this one up. You won't be disappointed. But what do you guys think of this Mechanicum kit? Please do put your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. It'd be good to hear from you. Thank you for watching. The Omnissiah protects.